Street, dude, the original 1984. And believe it or not, folks, believe it or fucking not, this is Chris's first time checking out this film. And Chris, you're how old?
I am 35 years old.
35 years, and he hadn't seen.
Uh,
Go ahead, son.
mhm.
Jump in, tag
I
me.
was gonna say, well, he's 35, but how old is your posture, Chris? That's what I want to know.
45.
Oh, no way, dude. No, Chris, my posture is nowhere near that, and I'm almost 40. So there's no way. There's no way. I'm gonna say 75. I'm gonna say 75.
That 75-year-old man posture, dude. No big deal, right?
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. How's the back, Grandpa? It's fine. So, 35 years, and you did hear of Freddy Krueger, right, Chris? I think you had said, yeah, I heard about him, you know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a kind of thing where, like, when I was in elementary, and, you know, for those of you listening out there, I was in elementary school, you know, kindergarten was 88, 89, fifth grade was 93, 94. So, I mean, that's when I was in elementary, and, like, those later elementary years, everybody was always talking about, it was like a comparison, like dick measuring contest. It was like, yeah, I've seen Nightmare on Elm Street 6, you know, and stuff like that. Like, someone was like, yeah, I've seen part 1, 2, and 3. Oh, well, I've seen part 5 and 6. It's like, that's what people would fucking do, and I'd never seen it.
So you're right away, you know, telling them they were just tough guys, huh? That's what you're.
Yep.
He was resisting right away. He was resisting.
So Mark was a tough guy because he's been watching this shit since it came out, right, dude?
Oh, dude, fucking day one, son, day one.
Yeah. Is this the first one you've seen? I mean, like, out of all the Nightmare films, did you see them like in the order they came out, or?
Oh yeah, dude, yeah. I think what did I tell you? Number four or 3, something like that. I've seen 2 of them at the theater, dude. That I do know.
I think it was 5. You said
That-
that.
The
5
one
was
where
with
they're in
your
the
dad.
town, the one with Arnold, when Roseanne was married to Tom Arnold, dude.
Okay, 6.
That one for sure. I've seen that one in the theater, dude. That I do know.
Yeah, I think
You
told
said
us 5
part-
and 6.
You said part 5 was the one you went with your dad to see it, and like beforehand, y'all went to some seafood restaurant.
Ah, there you go.
Oh, but he doesn't remember where him and Nancy went and what they ate and all that shit. Got it, dude.
You're of course referring to Nancy Thompson.
Exactly.
Oh, there's only one Nancy that I know of.
Heather Langenkamp, dude. Get it right.
There's only one Nancy that I know of.
So
That's what it is.
I'm so glad we got to redo this Nightmare on Elm Street film. At least this one. We're gonna get to the other ones later. Because some of you may or may not know, the first Nightmare on Elm Street fucking review was a clusterfuck. And I know Chris had heard it. And what did you think about my review? And it was just me and Jason, Chris.
Oh, the thing that stood out more than anything was it was all over the fucking place.
Yeah, it was a bit of a clusterfuck, dude. It was a bit of a clusterfuck trying to talk about.
That's not me. I want that on the red. That is not me.
Okay, it's Mark texting it.
No, you know damn well who it is.
I know it's Mark.
You know who it is.
I could tell the difference.
It's not me. What?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
You did
I got one hand on the phone. It's against my ear, and I got my other hand on my my mineral water, dude. And I'm watching the Cavs steal my money from me, dude. But you know that's what it is, dude.
Are you telling me the Cavs are losing?
Well, they're losing. I made the first half bet and they won, dude. And then I was like, you know what? I'll press my luck, dude. I'm gonna use what I want and use it on the second half. And of course, they get fucking a 14-point turnaround, dude. Fucking embarrassing, dude.
We'll save this for.
So now they're down by 9.
We'll save this for tomorrow's podcast. I can't wait to trash LeBron James, but for the whole Nightmare on Elm Street game, dude. Yeah. So I grew up loving A Nightmare on Elm Street. And this is basically what got me into like horror movies. Like I wasn't like a guy that watched all the different films at first. I mean later on I would, but I knew about Friday the 13th, but I didn't watch it. I knew about Halloween, but I only watched I think it was the first one because I had that one. But for the Freddy films, I think I had like all the way up to part 5. So I watched them all, and it was like I watched them all multiple times. Because y'all know back then when y'all had VHSs, that's really what you would watch. You know, you couldn't go to the movies every fucking day or put on Netflix, dude. There wasn't a streaming king at the time, you know, so it was just whatever you had. So I watched these films a ton of times, and this is the one that I didn't watch too much as a kid because it's the only one that's really scary. You know, it's the only one that's going to keep the lights on. Right, Chris?
That's right.
Man, your mic is...
Yeah.
Do you have all like...
He can't help himself.
Chris,
He
you
can't
right
help
here.
himself. Has to do something.
No,
I'm sitting right in front of here.
no, but it's your connection, Chris. I don't know if you have other shit running, like maybe your TV's on, you're streaming something, your Wi-Fi's on.
No.
It's breaking up really bad.
Here, how about now?
Well, I mean, right now, yeah. But I'm just saying when you're...
Call Joe a guide, Chris. Call him a guide.
Okay. No, so I mean, how about now? We're still good.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nancy.
Fuck, I don't.
Nancy.
You have some shit that's you're
You got something to say?
you got something to say. What was that noise? Nightmare on Elm Street, released in 1984 by New Line Cinema, and this one is directed and written by Wes Craven. And Wes Craven has directed a lot of fucking horror movies. He did Mark's favorite film, The People Under the Stairs.
Nope. That movie sucked, dude.
Remember he told me some girl, oh, it was Daniel that told me that. He was like, Daniel was like, oh yeah, I'm into horror movies, and some chick's like, oh yeah, my favorite horror movie's The People Under the Stairs, and he's like, that movie sucks. I started laughing like,
it was good. I like it, dude. Like that'll make it good. That one in Ghost Ship, dude. That one.
Yep. Same girl, dude. Same girl.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those of you horror fans out there, Wes Craven's done The Hills Have Eyes, Last House on the Left, that are really well known as those 70s, over-the-top kind of horrors. Swamp Thing, of course, Nightmare on Elm Street. He did The Dream Warriors. He came out, and I'm not too sure exactly what he did on here. I think he helped write some of the stuff on there. The Serpent and the Rainbow. Like I said, People Under the Stairs. He did Wes Craven's New Nightmare. He did the Scream franchise, Wishmaster. So he did quite a few good films. I think he's a little overrated as a director. I think he's good, but I do think that John Carpenter is a way better director than Wes Craven. Not saying that he's bad, but he calls himself like the master of horror and all that shit. I mean, he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Who calls himself that? Who calls himself the master of horror?
That's what who's getting over there. Is it you, Mark?
I was drop some ice on the floor,
Oh.
dude. Is that okay with you? Can I quench my thirst? Is that okay?
All right, I was making sure, dude. I'm doing roll call on noisemakers here, and so what was your question? Fuck.
Who calls himself the master of horror or whatever the fuck he said?
That's what it was. Yeah, that's the New Nightmare. When that shit came out, that's what was like the little tagline on top. It's like the master of horror. So I don't know who calls themselves that, dude. I don't know. Maybe New Line trying to put over Wes Craven. They need the master of horror, dude. There's only one master of the universe, dude. You're talking to him. So this motherfucker.
I mean,
Go ahead, son.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, I mean, you might be the master of horrors, dude, but I'm the master of horrors, dude. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's two different horrors. Yeah. So when this film was created, New Line Cinema was the only production company that would take Wes Craven's script, right? So there was like a last ditch effort for them to make the film, and Wes had the idea for a while, and he takes it to New Line, and this is basically like their swan song. This is the end, and all this and that. and they make it on a budget of 1.8 million, and this motherfucker comes out and makes 25.5 million. So that's a hell of
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's a hell of a return. So with that, they go and start making all the sequels, and that's why you have the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And New Line Cinema is known as the house that Freddy built, because if it wasn't for this film, there wouldn't have been New Line Cinema and all that other good shit. There's a lot of pretty decent actors in here. John Saxon, and of course everyone's favorite Johnny Depp, aka Johnny Depp. I know Chris was checking him out the whole time, dude.
You know him.
Oh yeah,
son.
I mean, he's the future Donnie Brasco. How can I not?
Hey. Oh, you got to get it over, son. He's got to get it over with Donnie Brasco. So yeah, they got some pretty good stars in this one here, and this is Johnny Depp's first film, and this isn't Wes Craven's first directing film. He's had a few, of course, but this is the one that really got him over and completely changed. I'm assuming his life. The other films did pretty good, but there wasn't like a tier like this one. So anyway, let's get into the fucking film. So it starts off with Tina going into the boiler room. For those of you who don't never seen this film, we're gonna walk you through it. Well, it doesn't even start off with the boiler room. It starts off with Freddy making his glove, dude. My bad.
Hold on, son. Hold on. Before we get to the making of the, I'm confused, dude. I'm confused. Because I've heard two different things, dude. Now, I don't know who the fuck said. I don't know if it was Wes Craven or whoever the director or producer, one of those fuckers, dude, said that the way the Freddy character came up, dude, was this motherfucker was on a second-story apartment or house or something, dude. And
he was actually in a one-bedroom.
It was a one-bedroom. It was an efficiency. They had just moved into a one-bedroom, though. Right? And then, and they were actually getting ready to transition to a two-bedroom.
Yep.
So what happened was I don't know, but he's like 10 or 12 or something. He's young, whoever the fuck's telling the story, dude. Mm-hmm. And he looks outside into the street, and he sees this guy in like a striped shirt. And the motherfucker just walks by, stops, and just immediately looks up at the window and stares right into his eyes, dude. And that like scared the piss out of him, dude. And that's how the Freddy character was born, supposedly. And then I heard another story, dude, that Freddy was made of. Have you heard the other story, son, or have you heard that one?
Yeah.
How the character came to be or whatever?
Keep going. Yeah. I've heard that one. You told it exactly like I did. Like I heard it. But keep going, dude. If you got some Freddy stats, let's get them over.
And then I heard that Freddy was just made out of thin air, dude. Somebody said that. Somebody that made the movie said they just made him out of thin air. That it wasn't no fucking, not like the first way I told you that he, it was as a child. Oh, that motherfucker! I forgot that motherfucker was trying to get in. Like he saw him, and like he just stared him down, and then he was like trying to open up the doors to the fucking apartment downstairs or whatever. Because it's one of those that has got the door before you get into the fucking actual building or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he can hear him like trying to open it up, dude. He was freaking the fuck out, dude.
That sounds way scary. I've heard that second story, but I don't know if it was about Freddy. I've heard that from somewhere, but yeah, the first story that Wes Craven tells is that that the same way you said that he was looking outside his like second story apartment, and he saw a guy walking down the street and looked up at him, and then he freaked out and he went down for like a few seconds because the guy saw him, and he waited there, the little Wes. For he goes to like a couple like 30 seconds, and then he like slowly creeped back up to see if he was still there, and the guy was still there staring at him, and like popped his head out more like this so he could like show him that he's like looking at him. And that the way that guy looked, like you said, was where he got the idea for Freddy, because the guy was wearing like a long trench coat and a hat and all those gimmicks. So that's where he like
But he also said that he was wearing a turquoise shirt too, dude. I could be wrong, dude.
And bricks, dude. The same bricks that I know.
Yeah, really, really fucked up shoes too. That's the thing that scared him the most, dude. Yeah.
Oh my God, that turquoise shirt got over the last horror podcast. Oh my God. But so yeah, that was the idea for the look of Freddy, and then he said that when he was a kid in whatever elementary or whatever it was, there was a bully named Freddy that would always bully him, so that's why he got the name Freddy. And then Krueger is because like he was into like German stuff, and that's a German name, so Freddy Krueger. And then the whole story about Freddy killing you in your nightmares and dreams, that all came about because he said he was reading some kind of newspaper articles about
Mm-hmm.
these, I don't know, Asian descent, whatever the fuck. And the whole clipping was basically, it was a story about these two. There was two separate instances where there was a kid saying that they didn't want to go to sleep because they felt if they went to sleep they were going to die, and they eventually did end up dying in their sleep. Like the parents had heard them, like they finally fell asleep, and then they heard them like scream in their sleep, and then they went to go check on them, and they were dead. And they found all these coffee makers and all kinds of things to stay awake. And that's why he got the idea in this film. That's why Nancy sneaks in the coffee maker, and she sneaks in get the Coke and the stay away, and all that shit. So yeah, that's how we came up with it. And Freddy, we talked about it last time. David Warner, I think his name is, from The Omen, the photographer that's following the guy around the whole film. He was supposed to play Freddy Krueger originally, and he was, because they wanted Freddy to be a little bit older looking, and the concept art for it looks really cool. I would have liked to have seen him play Freddy at one point, but I mean Robert Englund does a fantastic job. But yeah, that's basically the whole story on who Freddy is, what Freddy is. Now, with this film, this is, I think, let's just get this out of the way. I'll ask Mark because Chris doesn't have too much background on Nightmare on Elm Street yet. But is this your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street film, dude?
Fuck no.
No, what's your favorite one, dude?
You know which one it is, dude.
Hold
you know which
me,
one it is.
touch
Dude.
me, baby.
That one.
No shit.
Yep.
That's your favorite part two, man. You're getting it over, dude. Number two.
That one for sure, dude.
And then what's your second favorite?
Probably gonna have to go with the part 4, dude. The
Dream
yeah,
Master.
it has that badass song, dude.
That's
it.
Why, the songs get the movie over, huh?
Yeah, dude. Because I mean, how many different ways? I mean, the guy's trying to come and get you in your dreams, dude. Okay, that's it, dude.
He's a tough
that's
guy.
the whole story. That's the whole movie, dude.
He's a tough guy. He's a tough guy.
Yeah, he's a tough guy that thinks he's funny, dude. Yeah, that's the thing. So that's it, dude. I mean, you've seen the first one. That's it. You've seen the rest of them, except they get a little more, a little more haha throughout as the series goes on, dude.
So, like I said, the film starts off with Freddy. Well, we don't know it's Freddy, but it's Freddy making his glove, dude. And we see that he made that shit himself, dude. Now, Mark, do you know a guy that can make his own glove? I know you have guys that can do everything, man. Do you know a guy that could probably get a glove over like that, dude?
Oh, for sure, dude. You want us? I can make us one, dude. I can get us one.
Mark's got a guy that could do anything, dude. So
And I can get a guy. Oh, you know who I'm talking about too, dude. You know who I'm talking about? The mad fucking the mad scientist, dude. Fucking Richard.
Yeah, I was gonna say. That's exactly how that motherfucker, dude. He'll find a way.
He can make anything, dude. He can modify anything, dude. That motherfucker's crazy, dude. He can make a glove, one for a foot. Like if somebody's got a bad foot, dude, he can make one for that, dude, too. So just for future reference, dude.
So, Chris, do you know why they use Elm Street as the name of the street for the film?
I do, because I watched the first 21 or 22 minutes of that documentary you told me about. But I stopped watching it at that point because it was giving away parts of the movie, and I was like, I'm going to watch the movie. I don't want to know too much about the plot, what happens along the way. So I'm going to stop here. But yeah, Mr. JFK yourself here. Elm Street, I believe, is the street in Dealey Plaza where Kennedy was shot.
Exactly. So that's why Wes chose to use the name Elm Street. So he took
Repeat that again, dude. I want to make sure I understood that correctly.
I'll let Mr.
Elm Street.
I'll let Mr. JFK historian elaborate a little further.
Yeah, Kennedy was shot on Elm Street. That's in Dallas and Dealey Plaza.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Nightmare on Elm Street. So Wes Craven's a JFK mark.
I suppose. I think it's just that he gets ideas from things. I don't know if he's a JFK mark, but I think he just picks out ideas and he pastes them together, dude.
The other thing they said, too in that documentary was that, I mean, it was the double meaning there because besides the JFK incident, it's also a name like, yes,
Yeah.
Americana.
Yeah. I was all like, what? Americana, huh? Yeah. So yeah, that's all your Freddy and Wes Craven background that you really need to know about the film. They had enough money to get one big star, so they decided to get John Saxon, dude, from Chris's favorite film. Do you know where John Saxon's from, Chris?
God, it sounds like I should know, and I probably don't off the top of my head. I can't picture John Saxon in my head.
He's from Enter the Dragon, dude. Come on now.
Oh,
come on, Chris.
Your style is unorthodox.
That's the big boss, Chris. That's the big boss.
The big boss, dude. Oh my God, yeah. So John Saxon, was in Enter the Dragon, dude. So they got his ass. They got his ass to do it. So yeah, it's crazy, dude.
That's my favorite character. That's my favorite character on Enter the Dragon, dude.
No, yours is Jim Kelly, the black guy, dude.
That's Chris, dude. I like the other dude much better. He's more.
Oh,
he's a lot more me, dude. That's for sure.
Oh,
come over, John
Saxon. Yeah, John Saxon. So he's Nancy's dad.
No, you're Nancy's dad.
What about Nancy's? What about Nancy's daddy? Go ahead. Somebody's talking about Nancy's daddy, dude.
Lieutenant.
I'm her daddy, Nancy.
I'm gonna start calling Chris Lieutenant Thompson. Hey, Lieutenant. How's Nancy doing? So yeah, the glove, dude, they create that shit, and the music is just fucking crazy, man. And you could hear like Freddy breathing over, like that's all you can hear is really Freddy just like Chris, when he's fucking trying to do a podcast and the fucking gimmicks are getting over like son of a bitch.
Or he's getting up off the couch, or he's walking to the kitchen. Yeah. All that stuff. He's out of breath.
Yeah.
He's in some kind of motion. He's out of breath, dude. Go ahead.
So we're introduced to the first character, Tina, played by Amanda Wyss, and oh my God, dude, Amanda Wyss, she steals my heart. That girl is still fucking sexy, man, and she came out in Better Off Dead and a few other films, but that's what I know her. That's the Amanda Wyss I grew up with, and she's walking.
I want to know the Amanda Wyss you didn't grow up with.
I haven't met her yet, dude. I haven't met her yet. So she's running through the boiler room, and did y'all notice there's like a scene where she's like running from Freddy, and it looks like she's like running in place. I don't know if that's like purposely done because she's having a nightmare, or they just fucked up. I don't know, but so yeah, she's running from Freddy in that boiler room. Now we don't see Freddy, we just see like the hat, and then we see like when he jumps from behind her, and so we don't see his face yet. We just fucking see him, laughing and doing all that, and she wakes up once that happens, and she has that slice down her like a nightgown, and that's like when we like are supposed to know that shit, whatever happens in that dream happens for real, dude. So Chris, how did that scene get over for you, dude? When you're seeing her like wander around that fucking boiler room, dude? I mean, is it hotter there than in the one bedroom?
It depends. If you're talking about a year ago before they fixed my AC, yeah, it's probably about the same. I got to tell you, man. I mean, when they give it away early as far as the powers that this entity has, and they don't reveal his name. They don't reveal too much on what he looks like. It's just in that one scene, you're seeing how much power this supernatural, evil, fictional, not fictional, entity has, and he's able to do these things during a dream where it's translating into the third dimension. She wakes up and has these holes in her gown, and her mom says something like,
you okay?
You
okay, Tina? Fucking girl fucking freaks the fuck. And like, did her mom just like teleport to her room? Because like as soon as she wakes up, the mom opens the door. It's like, okay, are you in the next room? It's like over the top. shitty editing or whatever the fuck. But yeah, I thought that.
And then that scumbag Dave's like, "Hey, are we getting back to the sack or not?"
Yeah. Oh my God, that's all Jake right there, dude. Yeah, he's fucking. Fucking daughter's freaking the fuck out. Hey, come on here. Come over here, Nancy. Let's get that booty in line, man. Now, Mark, dude. If you're there with a lady friend, dude, and her kid who's like 17 starts screaming in the next room, dude, are you gonna snap your fingers and tell her to get back in that room, dude, or are you gonna let her
I'm gonna let her what?
Go over there. What you see her mom doing, dude?
Oh, I'm gonna tell her, hey, why don't you tell her to come in the room with us, So I wish she feels safe, You know what I'm saying?
But she's only 16, dude.
How do we know that, dude?
Well, Amanda Wyss is 20, dude. So if it was Amanda Wyss and she was 20, I'd say, get that pretty little thing on in here, girl. Yeah. Dude.
Well, it depends what state. It depends what state we're in, dude. Then it might be okay.
I think in England it's 16, right? Or is that the drinking age?
Yeah.
Some shit. Anyway.
Yeah.
Chris should know. Chris is the fucking aficionado on everything, dude. He'll tell you the oldest.
Except women and lovemaking. So he's not the aficionado, actually.
Yeah, and ACs, dude, speaking of ACs, dude, my ACs never worked better, dude. Tell Ernesto, dude, when you see him do that gimmick walk, dude, say, and Joe's never been happier, dude. That AC's getting over like a sumbitch. So as soon as
I'm gonna see him on Friday, dude. So I'll make sure I'll tell him.
Yeah, tell him. He's like, it's good, man. And then we'll ask Ernesto to do a review, dude, at the end of this shit here. So after Tina freaks the fuck out, we see the little girls, jump roping, and then we hear that iconic song that they really don't use too much in the series, but they get it over here, that 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. And that's the Freddy that yeah, go ahead, Chris, get it over, dude.
3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab your crucifix. 7, 8, gotta stay up late.
9, 10,
well, it's 9.
Nancy's back again. Yeah. So after we see that, we see all the characters that are going to be in the film. We see Rod Lane, played by Jsu Garcia, that I've actually talked to a few times on Facebook. Pretty cool dude. And Johnny Depp, Amanda Wyss playing Tina. Johnny Depp is Glenn, who's Nancy's boyfriend, played by Heather Langenkamp. And man, Heather Langenkamp's hair is just a fucking mess. Have you just see that shit? It's like a.
I know a guy. I know a guy whose hair is a mess too, dude. But we don't have time to talk about that.
So,
she's got that squirrel tail hair.
Yes, dude, squirrel tail. Yeah, dude, that fucking hair is fucking all over the place, dude. It's fucking ridiculous. I can't help but be like, man, dude, do you even comb that shit? But I mean, I guess that was the look in '84, probably. I don't know. I mean, but fuck. And so that night they go and hang out at Tina's place because she's having bad dreams, dude. And that's where it's kind of revealed that everyone's having the same dream. Tina or Nancy talks about the guy with fingernails. Like, oh, he had a lot of fingernails, and Tina's like intrigued right away. She's like, well, what else about him, And she's like, well, there are more like finger knives, and he was wearing a dirty red and green sweater. And then Glenn's hearing it, and he's kind of like freaking out because he's having the same dream too. We're supposed to get that, and and then Rod comes in and spoils the fun. But I like this whole scene, dude, because like he's trying to convince Glenn's trying to convince his I guess his parents that he's at a friend's house or something at the airport, and he's playing all these fucking shits on the radio, and it's just a fucking stupid ass scene. Like, if like you're at an airport, you're gonna go and play like an airport sounding shit. Not an airport itself, but someplace close to the airport anyway. But Rod Lane comes out, dude, and Rod reminds me of Mark, dude. He's after that Tang, dude, that Tina Tang, dude. Does that sound about right, Mark, dude?
Oh, you already know, dude. You already know. Except I don't know why he hasn't got it yet.
I don't know why he hasn't. Right? Does it Mark remind you of Rod, Chris?
Oh yeah, dude. And here's the thing, like, except Mark wouldn't be so lame as far as like saying like okay, first of all, and he says, well, I woke up with a heart on this morning and it had Tina written all over it. Who the fuck talks like that to their girlfriend in front of other people?
Mark.
That's for sure.
Right. It's like, what's the problem?
And then, and then the fucking was it Jsu Garcia?
Yeah.
He plays Rod Lane. He's the original AC Slater here, 7 years earlier or whatever the hell, because he's a Chicano brother, but they have him play an Anglo-Saxon last name.
Yeah. And the film is Ed Corey or something. They have him as something else in this film. They even have him credited not as Jsu Garcia, but it's something like Nick Corey. I think that's what they have him as because they didn't want him known as a Latino and shit. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, you're right. It's Nick Corey. I'm looking at the credits. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So yeah, he was like.
And that speaks to the times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, they were like, well, no one's gonna.
That speaks to the times. And it's like back then, even into the 90s, they would have people with white last names.
Yeah. Chris.
And I mean, nowadays it would be all too. Okay.
No,
you there?
You're doing that Mr. Roboto voice, dude.
Oh yeah. How about now?
Perfect.
Okay. And see, nowadays it would be all about, Latino pride and all that stuff, and they'd be out front with it. But back then they were still trying to hide it with people. I hate that.
Yeah. Now it's like the more Hispanics and blacks and Asians engaging get in your film, dude, the more over you are, right? That's the way the Star Wars films are now. But all right, moving on. So yeah, and stupid ass Nancy, dude, she's sleeping in another room. Because they're supposed to be there for Nancy, so she makes Glenn sleep in another room too. And of course, Tina and Mark, I mean Rod, are going at it, dude. They're Tina's over there taking that fucking drilling, right? And she asked Rod about nightmares, and he's like, "What? Guys can have nightmares too." Some bullshit along those lines. And then they fall asleep, dude, after a good pounding. And this is like the most iconic scene in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise when Tina gets killed here. So she wakes up because she hears some rocks being thrown at the window, and she can hear someone calling out. We know it's Freddy, obviously, because we've watched the fucking film, but we're like, who the fuck is this, right? And Tina, and she goes outside, man, and isn't that fucking that scenery of that alley just fucking creepy as fuck?
Christopher?
Yeah. Oh, of course. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's it, and you hear the name and it's real light. It's like if you're listening, you'll hear the Tina. It's kind of reverberate a little bit, and it's just, oh man, it's like that's kind of thing. If I said, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If I had watched this movie in elementary, I would have been sleeping with the light on and, not wanting to sleep alone and all of that shit.
And my favorite part, as a kid, it scared the fuck out of me, is because she walks to the alley and it's all, raining. Not raining, but it's all wet around there. And I ain't talking about Tina's panties. And we see the fucking trash can lid roll down the street. It makes that ugly sound. It goes, and then we see Freddy's silhouette from the other end of the alley. We see his hat, and then we hear him, Tina, and then he's got those long ass fucking arms, dude. And then he runs after her with that fucking Ernesto walk, dude. He's dude. Oh my god, isn't that Ernesto's walk, dude?
Oh, Ernesto walk way better than that, dude. That fucking he can't walk in a straight line shit, dude. Yeah.
Chris, that's exactly how Ernesto walks through when Freddy runs after Tina, going full speed or Freddy's full speed, that's exactly how that motherfucker walks like that, dude. It's 10 times slower, dude. 10 times slower, but just as wide. And so Freddy, abducts Tina in the dream or nightmare, and he slices her from the top of her breast all the way down to her stomach, and then she starts flying around, dude, in the air. Rod wakes up. And of course, Rod can't see what's going on as far as who's doing this to Tina, and she's being dragged on the roof. Now, Chris, this is your first time seeing this, dude. And Mark, I'm gonna get to you, Daddy. But when you saw this for the first time, dude, were you like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Were you doing that a certain guitar player's coming after me game, dude, when you saw this?
Yeah. It's like, I mean, it was fucking nuts, and it's like, so this character has the power to control people. I mean, even their bodies out into from the subconscious into the third dimension, and you can't stop it. I mean, because even fucking what's his name? Rod Lane, that's the boyfriend. Rod, right?
Yeah, Rod.
I mean, he could, yeah, Rod. He couldn't fucking stop the shit. I mean, he was perplexed and scared. I mean, I think he made a couple attempts and just was unsuccessful. It's like, how do you fight this thing?
Yeah. So, Mark, do you remember seeing that scene as a kid, dude? Like, did it have any effect on you? Like, was that one of those scenes where you're like, oh, fuck, dude? Or was it just like, oh, no big deal?
You know, I'm a tough guy, dude. I was a tough kid to begin with, dude. So, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal, dude. But, of course, motherfucker, what do you think's going to happen when you're fucking 5 or 6, whatever, dude? You see somebody getting dragged all over the fucking place, dude. You know, on their own, they're like, who the fuck is doing that?
Yeah. So
of course it's going to be fucking scary, dude.
So that's that. So there we go, dude. We finally got a first one, dude. It took us 4 podcasts, but Mark said he was actually afraid of a scene, dude. I can't believe it. But he was only 5, though.
I took it as a threat. I took it as a threat, dude.
Yeah, as a kid, when I saw that, I was like, what the fuck? You know, it felt like something you shouldn't have been watching. You know what I mean? As a kid, you know, being young, you're like, oh my god, you know, and you see the blood, and it's like a close up of the rip marks of her being, you know, torn, and then she falls into that fucking bed, and it's like just like a splat of blood. You're like, oh my god, you know, fuck. Yeah, yeah, dude. I don't know if that was the blood or something else.
I'll tell you what really entered my mind with that was it so made me think of like an extreme form of demon possession.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, dude. And they always say Freddy's a demon, so that makes perfect sense. Tina's murdered. Rod just jumps out the fucking window. Now, Mark, what would you do in that situation if you just saw your lady friend being thrown around the room like that, dude? Would you take off too? Dude? Would you just take off like a sumbitch or what?
What would my reaction be if I saw her getting bounced around like that, dude?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, dude, if I'd be like, oh, this bitch is, you know, demon possessed, dude.
Yeah,
demon
right.
possessed. So,
yep.
So let me get in it because I'm sure it's even, you know, 10 times better right now, dude. You know,
it's 10 times better right now. Yeah, fucking. So the next day they're at the police station, or that night, whatever. They're at the police station, and you know, John Saxon, Lieutenant Thompson, is you know, asking, what the hell were you doing there? You know, talking to fucking Nancy, and they were there telling her that she was having nightmares. And then the next day, Nancy's going straight to school, and she sees, like, I don't know what news station gets over like this, but they show, like, Tina being taken away on a clear body bag, and, like, her arm falls down. And would y'all go to school the next day, dude, if y'all were just at a murder scene?
No.
Well, you know, Chris. It depends. He's look at the lunch menu. So, let me see. Oh, sloppy joes. Huh? Yeah, I think I'm gonna make it today, dude. No big deal. So what? So what? She killed. I'm missing my sloppies. What's wrong with y'all?
Oh my god, dude. Would you look at the menu, Chris, first?
Not a school lunch menu.
He's lying. He had that fucker every month. He would laminate it, dude. I know that for a fact, dude. Just to make sure that nothing happened.
He's bullshitting. Now, fucking 11th to 12th grade, I remember several times in 11th to 12th grade, I would go to fucking Wendy's for lunch. It's right across the street. Never got caught.
How many triples did you have, Christian?
I would just get like 2 or 3 things off the dollar menu.
And how many shakes? How many chocolate shakes did you get?
None. But that sounds pretty good right about now.
Yeah. So after that, you know, or after Nancy, Nancy, I'm like making sure I got the names right here. And Nancy's walking to school, dude, and Rod like fucking pulls her to like the bushes, And he's all like, he's telling her like, I didn't fucking, I didn't do it. And then he starts being all ugly to her. He's like, don't look at me like I'm some fucking psycho or something. I'm warning you. And then Lieutenant Thompson comes out from the bushes too. He's all like, move away from her, son. Real slow, like your ass depended on it. Oh my god, dude! I can imagine Mark, dude. If he was, if someone did that to his daughter, dude, he would move slowly, son, like your ass depended on it. Oh my god! So Lieutenant Thompson gets over, and I don't know why Rod was waiting in the fucking bushes for. I don't know why he didn't leave town. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have been waiting for. Like, what's Nancy gonna do? Like, convincing Nancy that you didn't kill somebody? Like, oh, okay, got it, dude. And Nancy goes to school, dude, and we get to see Lynn Shay as the teacher. Now, Lynn Shay is the sister of the owner of New Line Cinema, Bob Shay. And Lynn Shay is actually a star. Well, she's come out in a ton of films. She's come out on There's Something About Mary. She comes out in the Insidious films as the old lady that Louise that does all the mind games and shit. So she comes out in a lot of.
I thought I'd seen her before.
Yeah, this is her.
Kingpin.
Kingpin. I was gonna say Kingpin. I was like, was that the one? I wasn't sure. And, yeah, she's in Detroit Rock City as one of the kids' moms. She's in so many fucking films. But as Nancy's in class, she falls asleep, dude, and then she sees Tina in a body bag, and like there's a guy reading some, I don't know who it is. I think it's Shakespeare or some shit, and he starts reading it all crazy like, and I don't know if y'all remember all these minor scenes because they're kind of like this is where we actually see Nancy start having nightmares about Freddy. And she runs through the hallway, and she runs into that hall monitor with pigtails, and she goes, "Where's your pass?" And then she's like, "Screw your pass." And then when she turns back around, it's like, "Nancy, no running in the hallway." Now that girl, she goes to like those horror Comic Cons, whatever they call them, to sign autographs. Now, Mark, if that girl was at any kind of place, would you get her autographed, dude, or you just shrug, dude?
Depends, dude. Depends. Is Chris with me or not?
Of course, Chris is with you, dude.
Oh, of course, and I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get one with her, dude. Of course.
Why?
And you know why? You know why, right?
I'm not too sure.
Come on, dude. What's her name?
Well, not Nancy. The hall monitor.
Oh, the hall monitor, dude. Oh, dude. No, of course not. I thought you were talking about Nancy.
Yo, can you believe that chick goes to places like
Leslie Hoffman?
Yeah, she's like in the film for like 15 seconds, and she's over here giving out autographs and shit, dude. Signing shit.
She's immortal, dude. She's immortal, dude. I need to come out in one movie so I could be immortal too. Just one, dude.
Just say no.
Can you imagine me being in one movie with just one little line? How many times you hear about it every day, dude?
Well, that reminds me of my movie-going days. Oh, forget about it, dude.
Yeah.
I was like that one time, dude. Every day's that. It's like that one time. That one time I did that film, dude. You get everyone. Every time we're anywhere, dude. Every time we're anywhere. So Nancy runs to the boiler room, dude, and she sees Freddy for the first time, and she's doing that oversell. She can't find her way out, and she's like fucking, getting fucking stuck on pipes, and she burns herself on the arm to wake up, and she wakes up with the burn mark there, and she kind of like, now she comes to that understanding too that, she fucking, whatever happens in the dream happens for real, and she goes and sees Rod, because I guess she's starting to believe it too, even though she was already having, nightmares about Freddy. Like now she's like, okay, I need to start asking around, and Rod's there in jail, dude, and he's still got the over-ass jacket, dude. That jacket ain't coming off just because he's in jail, and he's sweating like a motherfucker. And that guy talks about this scene. He's like that he was all fucked up and he was on all kinds of drugs, but he don't want to say what kind of drugs they were. And you can kind of tell, dude. He looks kind of like, he looks kind of like he's like I can't even gimmick it. I mean, like a 10-day hangover. I don't know. It just looks like he's sick. He's like sweating and I don't know. But anyway, he's telling her, I couldn't even see the fucker, and Nancy just, I don't know. He asked her like, you believe me, don't you, Nancy? And she's like, I think she says, yeah, I believe you. Or she don't even answer him. So I'm like, why do you go there and see this guy just to fucking, make him more miserable, dude? And after that, Nancy's taking her shower, dude, and the Freddy glove comes out. Now, Chris, do you think this Nancy's hot, dude? I mean, did this tub scene, did it get the bucket ready, dude? Did you start prepping the bucket?
Oh, I mean, dude. I mean, if I had been around back then, and I mean, girl like her, binged, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, like, even with her hair being all fucked up at the beginning, I mean, dude, when she gets her hair, done like for a night or whatever, she could be a Brett girl.
Yeah, she's actually way prettier in New Nightmare, I think. But Mark, what do you think about Nancy, dude, and this Nancy, dude, and the tub scene, dude? I mean, is she attractive to you, dude? Would you lay it on the line for Nancy?
I've never seen Nancy in the tub, and I never want to see Nancy in the tub, dude. I don't know why you would ask me a question like that, dude.
Shouldn't watch this movie then if you didn't want to see Nancy in the tub then.
So.
Oh, that Nancy.
Yeah, Heather Langenkamp.
That Nancy.
Heather Langenkamp, dude.
Oh, dude, I don't know. I don't look at Nancy or any Nancy for that matter and go, I got to have that, dude. I don't know. She doesn't do it for me, dude.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I listened to some podcasts. I always thought about it too, but I never thought about bringing it up as a subject or a topic. But I had heard one, and I always thought about it. But they're like, doesn't Nancy look real moly? Like she has lots of moles. I'm like, who the fuck brings up that shit up in a fucking topic, But I thought it was hilarious. But Nancy tells Glenn, her boyfriend, Johnny Depp, he's still in the film, folks. He doesn't do much here, but he's in the film. And she's like, has the idea that she can, I think, pull out Freddy. And she's telling him, hey, you stay awake, and if you see me acting funny, wake me up. Of course, Glenn goes, I'm just going to call him Johnny. Of course, Johnny goes to sleep because he's a dumbass and he can't do shit, right? And she goes into this dream sequence, and there she sees a bunch of crazy shit. This is like another really cool dream sequence where she sees Freddy go into Rod's cell, and Freddy knows that she's there, and she sees him, and he smiles at her, and then that's when he hangs him. And she also sees Tina, and Tina's got some fucking what's that shit, centipede come out of her mouth or whatever the fuck, dude? Fucking gross. Yeah. And Freddy comes after her after that, dude. So, I think Freddy found out she was the one making the fake profiles. So he chases her.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. He chases her. They end up fighting back in the bed. And she pulls the fucking hat out, dude. And she wakes but after that, oh no, she doesn't pull the hat out yet. My bad. She wakes up, but she knows that they're going to go kill Rod, so that's when she runs down to the police station, and there we get the quickest death of all time, dude. Fucking Rod, he's alive. 1 second, they open the door and he's dead automatically. Did y'all laugh when y'all saw how fast he got hung?
Yeah, yes, that was the most ridiculous, lynch death, hang death I've ever seen. Because he falls down once, and apparently that blanket had such impact on the carotid artery.
Yeah, it was I mean, like I said, from the moment I think he's barely getting strung up when they're opening the door, and all of a sudden he's just dead. I'm like, come on. And we talked about it earlier with Tina's mom opening the door, going to console her and shit. And she wakes up, and within half a second, are you okay, Tina? It's all right. Can we at least get a 3-second, 4-second buffer in between this? Fuck. So this film, their timing was way off. So what
if he broke his neck? What if he broke his neck immediately? Did you ever take that into consideration?
Gosh. Okay, people have been lynched with real ropes, which are far more dense and far harder, and probably a little bit tighter than this thing was on him. But I'm supposed to believe that on one drop, upon impact, it had that kind of impact on his carotid artery that he just died on the spot.
Broke his neck. He died
from a blanket.
Yes.
And people have lived
250, 300 thread count blankets.
People.
Yeah, that's probably what it was, dude. It makes perfect sense now that Mark's bringing it to our attention, dude. Yeah. So they take Nancy to go see a sleep doctor, I guess, here, and they're running a bunch of tests on her, and they have her hooked up to a bunch of machines. And she starts freaking out, and once they do finally wake her up, she pulls out the fucking Freddy hat, man. And the next day, her mom's her mom's like all juiced up the whole movie. She's drinking the whole time, but it becomes more apparent, towards like the second half of the film, and she's like, I want to know who he is, and she's like asking her, and like it even has his name in it, Fred Krueger, Mom, Fred Krueger, and after all that bullshit, her mom finally does tell her who Freddy is, dude. Now, Chris, do you remember what her mom was telling her, like kind of verbatim about Freddy?
Yeah, that he was a guy who had kidnapped and murdered like 20 children.
Exactly.
And he did so in this boiler room, and so they actually trapped him with a trail of gasoline and lit it on fire, and that's how they killed him off.
Mm-hmm. That's the same guy.
Chris, how would you kill 20 children? I know you've thought about it before. How would you kill 20 people? Or 20 people, yeah, not just children, 20 people.
I'd probably lecture them to death.
So you torture them, is what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, death by torture. Yeah.
Death by torture.
Okay,
Kill.
That's why the
You
church only gives me an hour every Sunday with these kids, because they know anymore, and we'll have freaking ambulances out there.
Got it, dude. So you'd lecture them, and then to top it off, you'd sit there and watch OJ episodes, right? That
Exactly.
OJ series. That's how you would torture them. Okay, just want to make sure.
It's not my fault they can't take that shit.
Yeah, I don't know too many people that can. I know one that for sure can't take it, but it's another story, dude. That's another Nancy, dude.
Can I point out, because we're being funny right here, but can I point out that one thing that just hit me when you brought up the when she goes to the dream doctor, or the sleep doctor rather,
Mm-hmm.
whatever kind of ologist that would be, but it made me think, because it made me, when they put all those things on her head to like measure certain brain waves and shit.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of that one Snickers commercial where they have that guy laid down on that examining table and they put those things all over him. And he said, because they're going to measure what happens in his brain when he eats the fucking Snickers. And he goes, is this going to hurt? And the doctor goes, only when we take them off. And it made me think, and it made me think to myself, right, when you brought that up, it made me think fucking, like, if this movie was made today, like, from scratch, like, there had never been a Nightmare on Elm Street before, and they make it today, they're going to have just probably several instances, not overkill, but in the scary movie, but several instances of comic relief, whereas there is no comic relief in this movie. The funniest thing maybe is when fucking the scumbag stepdad of Tina, he's like, hey, are we getting back to the cycle? I mean, that's the funniest thing. I mean, there's no levity.
Well, the only funny character is like Rod when he comes out in the beginning, really, like when he talks about that a hard-on with Nancy's name on it or Tina's name on it, whatever the fuck, and when he tackles Glenn, and he's all, from 3 miles from the goal line, and all that bullshit. So, I mean, there's no real jokes. He's acting funny, but yeah, for the most part, there isn't any comedy in this film at all. I mean, for like 99% of it, there's very minor shit. Like Lieutenant Thompson, never acts happy with the wife. I mean, I don't know why they're together, because they don't look like they're having a good relationship,
I know somebody that's gonna be like that, dude. But anyways,
someone, dude. Not gonna mention any names.
A certain person, yeah, a certain 300-pounder, but that's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
So Nancy, I never noticed this, but she has a police poster on her wall, dude. So that shit gets over like a son of a bitch. So she's trying to get a hold of Glenn later on, but his dumb ass falls asleep, and his parents, they don't want her like talking to Glenn, so they like disconnect the phone, and she keeps calling. And that's when the like another like famous Freddy scene, Freddy goes, I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy, and then sticks out the tongue, dude. Tell us about that scene, Chris. What'd you think about it, dude?
Oh, that fucking got over, because I heard in the original Nightmare podcast that clusterfuck, the biggest goddamn clusterfuck in the history of clusterfucks.
Mm-hmm.
No, I heard y'all mention that on that, and so I remembered it, and I was like, the whole movie I was like, I'm waiting for that line.
Yeah, I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy. Yeah, I love that's fine. And then like the bottom, talking part turns into like Freddy's mouth, and then the tongue comes out. It's fucking yeah, it's funny, man. And
Oh, dude.
and Glenn's asleep, and he has like I heard the death was supposed to be a lot more over the top and a lot more blood, but he just gets sucked into the bed. And even though it's not like a crazy like death scene like where all this shit happens, like that used to freak me out that he gets sucked into his bed like that, and he's like, "Mama, mama, ah," and all the fucking TV in the fucking TV or whatever monitor he has in front of him, like a little mini TV, gets sucked in there with him too, dude. And then there's like this big old hole in the bed, and then all this fucking blood just squirts out, dude, all over the fucking room, dude. Like the most over ass blood scene in the history of blood scenes. And they said that the way how they were able to do this was it was like all the stuff was upside down, all taped and glued or whatever the fuck to the ceiling, and they just poured that shit into like it was like a rotating room. Well, they said that they didn't think about it at the time, but when you put liquid into a rotating box, what's that going to do? Cause it to sway and turn around and all that. So it ended up doing that, and all that liquid was flying everywhere when they were like having these cables, and it goes, one of the guys got shocked like really bad and shit. And I was like, oh my god, what a bunch of fucking maniacs, dude. But when they say stuff like that, I love it because they don't make films like that anymore where they make up all these fucking shimmied up fucking gimmicked ass fucking rooms. Like now everything's CGI. They're not gonna fucking do anything special like that to get a scene over, and that's why this looks to me really badass. You know what I mean? And after Glenn dies, all the police end up going to his house, and Nancy calls. And guess what? The phone finally works. Now it works, and her dad answers, and she tells him, like, that she's going to bring him out, and to come check on her. I think she says, like, in 20 minutes. And she's able to do all this fucking bullshit in 20 minutes, like, set up all these booby traps, dude. And to me, it's ridiculous. Again, the timing's horrible with this film, but because earlier in the film, she has this book on, like, the Home Alone gimmick, traps. So she does all this stuff, puts like a light bulb with shotgun, gunpowder, and I guess shotgun BBs or something into this fucking light. So basically, she's getting all this shit set up, and she talks to her mom, and they kind of, they settle their differences really. And she goes to sleep on purpose to go find Freddy. And she's like, I guess Freddy's like finally hiding from her because like now she's like looking for Freddy and she can't find Freddy. And I like that they have like the sense to not give Freddy his hat because she took his hat, so he's not in the dream anymore with the hat. So I thought that was pretty cool that they kept that for the scene. And the ending is it's really kind of like a bunch of shit just happening. Once she brings Freddy into the real world, he's getting his ass kicked with all the hammer falling from one of the doors. They set his ass on fire, and they said that was like one of the longest like stunt fires like ever. I don't know how long he was on there, but his ass burned for a long time when he falls down those stairs. And
yeah.
So Lieutenant Thompson finally comes home. Freddy jumps on the mom, and she ends up getting like sucked into the bed like a weird ass effect. And Freddy comes back once everyone leaves the room. It's just him and Nancy, and all she does is, I understand what I did, Freddy. I gave you this power. Now I'm taking it away from you, and I want all my friends and my mother back. And she turns around, and he's like, no, and he goes away, dude. One of the worst endings ever to me. But what did y'all guys think?
Oh, dude, I thought Ryan was so Nancy had power over Freddy this whole time, dude. She didn't even know it, dude. Wow, dude. Uh-huh. Is that crazy? You know what I was thinking during watching this shit? I was like, what the fuck, dude? What do you think it'd be like, dude, if Freddy had like an Instagram or a Snapchat, dude? What do you think that motherfucker would be like, dude?
He'd have a countdown on how many minutes till she's gonna go to sleep, dude. He'd fucking play mind games.
And he would be checking on her to see if she's checking the snaps or whatever, dude.
That's the exact same guy, dude. Yep. He would be like, all right, Be there, 1 hour, and then Nancy's just gonna check it, dude. She's gonna check every single one, just so she'll let Freddy know that she's watching him, dude. That she's got no fear, dude. She's got no fear of the 2-bedroom. I mean, of going to sleep.
Cause she's got power over him,
Yeah.
right? She has all the power, right? And Freddy's okay with it, right?
Yeah. I don't know. And after all that, she wakes up. And it's all, sunshine and Chewy's, restaurants outside, all that shit. And and all her friends are back, and they're into this over-ass car, dude. And, like, the Freddy top comes on, and then it locks up, dude, and then it just hauls ass and drives away. And they had a few different endings for this. Like, one of them, Freddy was driving the car, the car from hell. And the Freddy arm pulls Nancy's mom through the fucking door with the most over-ass fucking whatever the fuck.
The bump.
Yeah.
The best bump of the film, dude.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
for sure.
What'd you think about that, Chris, when she fucking grabs Nancy's mom through the fucking door window?
Yeah, that was pretty. I was like, oh shit.
It's hilarious.
I mean, in the way she kind of did to her fucking self, man. I mean, she put the fucking burglar bars up on the whole fucking house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but the thing is, that ending tripped me the fuck out because I mean, she just with words neutralizes Freddy, at least for a time.
Mm-hmm.
Wakes up and, walks outside the door to go to school, and her friends are alive again. They pull up to you. Tina, the first one to go, she's alive again, and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And she hops in the car, but then, lo and behold, a fucking Freddy ragtop, and the windows lock, and the windows roll up, and the doors lock, and the windows roll up. And she's like, "Stop doing it!" Like she thinks they're just fucking around joking. She's like, "I'm not doing it."
Yeah. And then they.
So is that motherfucker alive, dude? They don't explain it, dude. So is everybody dead? Is she just dreaming? What the fuck? Is it just a mind game, dude?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Jerry. So yeah, when they drive away, their kids start doing that 1-2, Snapchat's coming for you gimmick, and it's all just a bunch of theories, and I guess I'll go through them, a few of them or whatever. But the ones, and even Wes, he really doesn't know, and they have the producer and everyone, they talk about it. Now, Robert Englund, who plays Freddy, who we'll talk about, and we'll talk about his performance in the film, he says that he thinks that the ending is the beginning of the film, that everything that happened was just a dream, that it was Nancy's dream or nightmare, and now she's waking up, and now the nightmare starts. So I don't know how that makes sense, because I don't know how in the real world Freddy is going to reach out and grab Nancy's mom and drag her to the fucking door, but that's what they say. And another one was that that she's still just having a nightmare, that Freddy didn't really, that Freddy really didn't die. But there's no real, for sure, answer on the ending. They always say it's left up to the viewer. Like to me, it was like the way Robert Englund had explained it to me was the one that made the most sense, that the whole thing was a dream and the nightmare doesn't start till like the end when she walks out. It's just strange film, but that's what Wes Craven, it looks like what he did with this film to me is just like he thought of ideas. I don't think he really thought them through to where it has to make sense, but he's like, oh, this is pretty cool, let's throw it in there. You know what I mean? That's what it sounds like he did. If you think of something scary, well, fuck it, Fuck it, we'll do it live, that kind of thing. What did you think about the ending, Chris? What did you think what the whole ending meant?
I mean, that's the thing. I was confused. I was like, so did she just kind of do a, go back, like the plutonium-powered DeLorean theory and just kind of go back to before all this shit happened because she took it back by saying this to him? Or, is she walking back into a brand new reality future? Or, like, what exactly, like, the way Mark was lost on that, I kind of got lost on that too, but it still tripped me the fuck out.
Yeah, I think, to me, the best part is, like, all that happens, right? And then the little girls are singing 1-2, Freddy's coming for you again, dude. It's like, we fucking know that motherfucker's not done yet, dude. We fucking know he's not done yet, dude.
It's kind of like that supernatural villain that when you think you've defeated him, he comes back at the very end.
Yeah. So, I mean, go ahead. You got something to say there, Mark?
Yeah, I think that ending, dude, it has to be just a dream, dude. I mean, it has to be a dream. The whole thing. It's a double turn, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's a double turn to leave it open for part 2, dude. And then of course, part 2 doesn't continue from there, dude. They turn it on you again, dude. They did that on purpose, dude. So I don't know, dude. I'm even more confused now, dude.
Yeah, the ending was. I didn't like the way Freddy, supposedly dies, but I didn't like the whole. I mean, see, the way it was supposed to end, that was another one, was that they just drive away and that's it. But Bob Shea, the producer, that's who it was, wanted to have a twist ending on everything. That, well, we just can't have them walk away,
The swerve.
Yeah.
The swerve, right? He can just leave it alone. There has to be a swerve, right? Give me a break.
And they had, like I said, they had a few different endings where they go into the car and Freddy's in the car driving, and he drives them away. And I guess that would, of course, has to be a nightmare. And then they had the other one where just a bunch of different shit. But yeah, they wanted to have like the rooftop turn into Freddy, and that Freddy's the car, and somehow he's still alive. And they threw that whole ripping the mom through the door. And it basically it was just thrown on because they wanted to have that fucking sequel, So if they did the alternate ending and Freddy's driving that car, dude. Freddy's driving that motherfucker. So do you think Freddy keeps his car clean, or is it just all crappy, dude, where you can't even put your feet on the floor, dude? Your friends can't sit in it because, he's too lazy. He's too lazy to clean it, dude. What do you think? Chris, what do you think, dude?
I don't know. It's better than being trapped in some, fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? Claustrophobic, death trap, like that. What you were driving for 3 weeks.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Claustrophobic death trap.
Oh, there's lots of other cars that are like that small, Chris. I don't.
Let's just kneel down to you.
Why would you have to kneel down to me? It's not my car. It's not. I didn't make the car. But I'll tell you what, it was a lot cleaner than that one that you're driving. I'll tell you that much. So you didn't answer. You still didn't answer the question, Chris. Is you think Freddy's keeps his car clean, or is it a fucking cesspool in there?
Well, he's a cesspool himself, so does it really matter?
Yes, it should matter. Even if you're a filthy person like yourself, you shouldn't keep the car clean. In case you got company.
Yeah, I don't think he's particularly concerned about being pleasant to company.
No, I get it. I know what you're coming.
So, how did y'all think Robert Englund did as Freddy here? Now I'll start off with you, Chris, because this is your first time really sitting there and spreading the cheeks for a horror movie as far as like Freddy, really. So, I mean, how did you feel his performance was? Like the way he looks, the kills, the voice, I mean, all that, dude.
Oh, I thought it was great. I mean, the only thing is I didn't see the need, and I mean, they addressed this in that documentary last night, but I didn't see the need for the extended arms at the beginning when he first comes after Tina. I mean, just him by himself, I mean, it's a unique character because it's not, I mean, the demonic thing about him is the face and then the claw on his hand. The claws on his hand. Mm-hmm. I mean, the outfit itself, I mean, you could be just a regular dude walking around in a fedora and that sweater and those pants. But then if you have that kind of fucked up, burnt, post, mortem skin, and then his facial demeanor and everything, and then the voice, the way he says things to people. Now, I recall the previous, podcast about the sequels and stuff, and my understanding is that as the sequels go on, he becomes less evil and less frightening. But I think right here, I mean, the way he says things to people, he's got it dead on.
Yeah, with this one, for those of you keeping track, he has a different sweater than the other Nightmare on Elm Streets. If you notice on this one, the arms don't have any stripes. It's just the stripes on the chest and back, and then the arms are just red. The hat's a little more smashed up and bigger than usual. Later on, he would have smaller hats. And his makeup, I don't think it's really that good on this film. It looks like it's too much shit going on, and it looks too, thick. It looks like the other ones, they kind of, they've tailored it down. It looks much better. But as far, and he looks a lot different too. It looks like I think they got like a big sweater on this one, because the other ones, it looks a lot more fitted. It looks good. Because if you look at a lot of the pictures, he just looks kind of like he's like slouching over. I know he did that on purpose, but here it looks a little funny because he has the big sweater. His voice, they never had the same voice, and I enjoy it because it has some kind of effect to it. Yeah, he's got that laugh. And it has like, it's real like, and it's got that Christopher J laugh, dude. And then he's got the where it's like deep, but it's kind of like echoing at the same, and it's good. It's it's that sinister laugh.
It has a gnarl, a growl to it.
That's the word. Yeah. So yeah, with this one, I loved it. I love the deaths on this one. They're good ideas. They're not like over the top dream world deaths like they would have later on in like 3, 4, 5 and all that. But this is fine. I mean, this is really good because it's more real. It's something that, I think they took the idea of, oh, you're having a nightmare, all kinds of strange shit happens, a little too far to where it got dumb. This shit, they really don't show Freddy killing anyone if you think about it, because he attacks Tina, but when she's actually getting killed, you don't see Freddy. Rod gets hung. We don't see Freddy actually fucking pulling the fucking thing himself. Rod just gets sucked into a bed. So Freddy doesn't actually get the glove and that we see and cut anybody with it. So I never really thought about that, but that's pretty interesting that we don't see him doing that. But they're still cool deaths. But what do you think about Freddy, Mark, dude?
I gotta explain the outfit, dude, from this one into the other ones, dude. What you fail to realize, son, is that this one Freddy's dressed for the fall, dude. That's why everything's oversized, dude. The other stuff's in the summer. It's fitted, dude. It's obvious. If you motherfuckers do anything about dressing correctly, you would know that's why it's like that, dude.
Okay.
That's simple, dude. Don't be running Freddy down, dude. I don't know why he's wearing his fucking sweaters all big. No. So it's a fall look for him, dude. I hope you understand that now.
Ralph Lauren over here.
Yep. Tips and tricks, dude, how to get over. So what did you think about Freddy on this film?
Dude, I mean, I like it that it's dark and all that. He doesn't cut as many promos and all that shit, dude. That's the good stuff about it. Because, as you know, the newer ones or whatever, the sequels and all that shit are ridiculous, dude. He's ridiculous, but he's not my favorite Freddy in this one, dude. He cuts a promo, but I mean, he doesn't cut any promos. I need a little more promo, not over the top, dude. I just need a little bit more, dude. A little bit more from a fucking psychopath, dude. Yeah. I could play you some messages, and I could tell you what, just about 30 seconds of good psychopathism, dude, if you want, dude. I got a bunch of them recorded.
How a good promo is supposed to be cut from a psychopath, right?
Yeah. If you want to hear them, I can forward them to you. Then you can put them on here, dude, if you want, dude.
Yeah, you go and do that, dude. We'll get it over. What's your favorite? I mean, we talked about this is not your favorite, but it's the darkest. So what's your favorite Freddy when it comes to promos and all that other stuff?
Already told you, dude. Part 2.
Part 2. That's the everything's the best about that one for you, huh?
Yep. Yeah. That's the best one, dude. That's the best one, dude. The characters are the best, dude. The dancing, the music, that's the best, dude.
That's funny, dude. Now, I love Freddy in that one, I always have. Even as a kid, I was like, man, this Freddy's good because he's still dark like he is in part 1, right? You don't see him acting stupid, but he's cutting the promos, but they're not over the top and they're not funny. They're just help yourself, fucker. Like he's like mean, funny shit. You know what I mean? Like the stuff you tell your workers, dude, when you're fucking working around the house, right? Yeah. That kind of shit.
Exactly, dude.
So, what do you rate this bad motherfucker, dude?
I'm gonna go with, just because it's the the first one, it introduces everybody in a slice of American history, a slice of Americana, dude. I'm gonna have to give it a good 8.5, dude. Something like that, dude.
You stole it my exact rating. I was thinking about it. I'm gonna go 8.5 out of 10, dude. I think it's awesome. I really don't care for like the last 20, 30 minutes, and you would think that like the ending would be the part you're most interested in, right? The closing, but it kind of, for me, it's I don't like just Nancy by herself. It kind of like takes me out of it. And I enjoy the first 40 minutes. It's really good, you know. Well, the first 20 minutes is the best with Tina, but after that, it kind of starts doing different things. But I love it is dark, dude. You know, so I do enjoy it like that. But Chris, what do you give this bad boy? Do it on your first viewing, dude.
Okay. This movie is a fast-moving stream. It is the Whitewater Rapids. It never gets stagnant. There's never like minutes at a time where it's boring and nothing's really going on. It's engaging. It gets you from the first minute, and you're just waiting for more and more to see what happens, see what happens. The actors are good. The characters are fairly believable. Freddy is, like I said, very dark, very evil, and this being the first one, they leave it very mysterious as to his motives, who exactly he is, why he does what he does, and he doesn't do a lot of monologue or dialogue that could leave you quasi-sympathetic to him and not like giving him the heel he should be getting. So I'm going to give this one, and it left me eager to see the next one. So I'm dying to see part 2 now after this.
You're squirting.
And part 3, but only because of Dokken and Dream Warriors.
It's Dokken, man. Oh my god, dude.
So I'm going to give this one a 9.
All right.
Wow. So Chris, do you think Freddy's dick is big enough in this one, dude, or what?
I mean, if you got that kind of power, chances are you got a pretty baseball bat sized one.
Yeah.
If he can extend his arms like that, well, imagine what else he can extend, Chris.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they had the extended arms at the beginning, because the Wes Craven wanted you to have the idea that he could do that too.
That's what it is.
Well.
Dude. So, Chris, on a scale from after you watch this, are you gonna go to bed with the lights on or off, dude?
How many inches are you giving this one, Chris? That's what he's asking you, dude.
Well, no. So I'm going to go to bed with the lights off, but I always have my TV on in my room anyway. So, I mean, that's kind of NA on that one. But the thing is, if we're talking about from the child perspective, if I had seen this shit in elementary, I would have been like frightened going to bed.
But you're a tough guy now, right? So you don't need the lights on.
Exactly.
So Mark, dude, is this the kind of film, dude, that back when you're 10 years old, dude, that you're gonna sleep with the lights on or off, dude?
Oh, dude, lights are off, dude, or we're getting an ass kicking. That's for sure, dude. That's for sure, dude. There's no fucking lights on. There's no fucking night light on. None of that bullshit, dude.
You're more afraid of your mom than Freddy, that's what you're saying?
I'm more afraid of that when that electric bill shows up, dude. And they're like, why is this $8 higher?
Oh, my God.
And everybody starts hiding, dude. Everybody starts hiding.
They didn't have LED back then, man.
Oh, it's just a light bill. Oh, my God, dude. So, yeah, for me, dude, as a kid, it was sleep with the lights on, dude, for sure, dude. But, now, of course, dude, I got 5 dogs, dude. So, I got to sleep with the lights off or else they ain't going to go to sleep. But badass movie, one of my favorite of the franchises. I do prefer, I'm like Mark, I'm starting to swing towards 2 and 3. Like, I've always liked part 3, but after watching part 2 the last time, I just really enjoyed it because it's so engaging with all the different characters. You don't feel like, this one it feels kind of isolated, you just feel like, we're getting into Tina, and then all of a sudden we're following Nancy, and Nancy's not a great lead character to me. It's like she really doesn't have any personality. I mean, I understand she's trying to be a tough girl, but it's like, she doesn't.
Most Nancys don't have personality anyway.
And I could tell you this, Joe, I agree with you on that because she's in the role and it's kind of like, okay, deal with it, put up with her, follow her, all that stuff. But I mean, honestly, if it was any other movie, she would be playing the best friend.
Yeah, dude. Tina should have been in the Nancy role. That's for damn sure, dude. Tina would have got over. She's very believable, and Nancy's just kind of like she's not a good actress. I think that's the problem. She's kind of got a bland look and stare to her, and that's why they chose her too. That she had that kind of like normal girl look. They said so. It makes perfect sense. But now that we're here, dude, we got about 4 minutes left on the podcast. What are we gonna do next week?
Oh, that's a good question. I am so glad you asked, Mr. Cage, because I can tell the listening audience right now what exactly it is for the horror podcast that we are going to be doing next week.
Who decided this?
Mark, what do you feel like doing next week, dude?
Well, whatever Chris says, I want to do the complete opposite, dude.
All right. So, Mark, what do you want to do?
Horror movies, I think we're going to have to go with, because what did we do? We did Child's Play. Now this one, why don't we do
Child's Play,
The Changeling, Omen.
The Omen, and then Nightmare. So we're on number 5, dude. What's number 5 going to get over? So you're listening in, folks, so y'all can try and watch what we're watching and be prepared for it, so you know what the fuck we're talking about.
Oh, dude, well, we got to go with the classic, dude. When people think of horror movies right away, dude, what do they think about? What are the top 3 right away that pop in your head, dude?
Halloween, Friday the 13th. And The Evil Dead.
Come on, son. No, well, that's a good one, dude. Maybe we should. I was thinking we could do The Exorcist, son. That's the thing.
Exorcist, by the way, is on HBO Go right now.
Let's do The Exorcist.